On today's show, it's finally an Ottawa Senators game day. Tonight, they're taking on the Ducks in Anaheim.
We've got a full game day preview, lineups, locked on lookout players, and keys to victory.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar, and today is Thursday, November 20th. Pilsy, I've been looking forward to this game all season. The Ducks, a young up-and-coming team, and the Ottawa Senators beginning their longest road trip of the season.
I feel like I've been looking forward to this game for the last couple of years, Ross, as the Ottawa Senators haven't played in what seems like forever. Saturday night feels like an eternity ago, especially. I don't know if you've been doing this, Ross. I know it's early in the season to be standings watching, but watching day by day Eastern Conference and Atlantic Division teams play and have the opportunity to accumulate points in this tight race has been stressing me out. So it's nice that at least the Ottawa Senators get back in action tonight and are able to have a chance at getting points, or the way this season's been going, at least some sort of movement.
Can you put your hand out for a second? I see some games in hand
Games
for the
in
Ottawa
hand.
Senators now, including over the Boston Bruins, 3 to be exact. And the Bruins just fell in regulation last night against the Ducks. So Ottawa's taking on a team, second half of back-to-back. They did get quite the confidence boost with a late goal against Korpisalo that gave the Ducks a regulation victory. So we appreciate that, Ducks. But tonight, it's duck hunting season officially open. And the Senators, they've got the hose tied tight, just waiting for that explosion. You let go, and hopefully that means the power play will be a contributing factor for tonight's game. Ottawa draws so many penalties throughout the course of games, and it's actually been a little bit less of late, just 2 power plays in each of the last 4 games. You can even go 6 straight games where they've only had 2 power plays in each of those. So to me, that's going to be a key tonight, is play with speed, play fast, play downhill, and try to get the Ducks to catch up and hold on to you and maybe get a couple early power plays. It didn't work against the LA Kings. They go 0 for 2 both in the first period. But to me, that's a recipe tonight, is that you have to play with a ton of speed. Later in the road trip, I'll maybe allow you got plain legs. You've been playing every other night. There's no 7-game trip being played tonight. It's 1 game. You've had 4 days off before. There's no excuses why Ottawa shouldn't have a dominant first period against a team where their equipment's still wet when they're putting it on tonight after yesterday.
Yeah, and yesterday was a tough game for the Ducks up against the Bruins. Came right down to the last couple minutes. And yeah, you talk about having to play with speed. This is a young, fast team that also has a mix of vets in here as well. But I don't know how deep you want to go into keys to victory, Ross, because I have a deeper digging at the key to victory you just mentioned.
Well, let's hold that for later on in the show. We'll also get to the lineups for both teams. The Ducks not skating today, so we're going based on their lineup from last night. We do know they are starting former Ottawa 67 Peter Mrazek in goal. So that's a backup game for Ottawa after Dostal had a fantastic performance last night in the win. He's an unbelievable up-and-coming goalie in the league. So with the Ducks, we'll get to their lines later. And with the Senators, something we spoke about yesterday briefly, but Travis Green made it all but official right after we recorded. Stephen Halliday, friend of the show, will be making his NHL debut tonight. I'm so fired up for Hallie. He's such a great guy. He gives us the time of day, which we appreciate. He's actually 7th all-time in guest appearances on LOSB, and we've just watched him take stride after stride after stride. And no pun intended there, but it's his skating that's improved to the level where the team feels comfortable to call him up, because this is a guy with elite hockey IQ, amazing dishing ability, and he also has got an underrated shot. He doesn't use it a whole lot. I don't think if he's playing 10 or less minutes, we're going to get to see it. But if he's confident, he's willing to rip the puck, he does have just an offensive package that you can see as an NHL player.
Yeah, and Travis Green mentioned Halliday's improvement on the defensive side of his game has been another reason why he was called up. And Ross, I know you hate the shootouts, and especially 10 p.m. start going to shootout. It's not ideal, but if it goes to shootout, I wouldn't want to see Halliday as one of the top 3, but if it goes beyond 3, get him in there. He's 1-for-1 with the Belleville Senators this year, and he is nasty when it comes to just mano a mano, because he's got so many tricks up his sleeve, and you can't dish on a breakaway, so that takes that opportunity away. So he has to come up with a move and score. So I wouldn't mind seeing Halliday as a possible shootout player for the Sens.
You're selling him short. He's 2 for 2 this season with the Belleville Sens.
Oh, I must have missed one. Oh, you know what it was? I saw he was 100%, and he was 1-for-1. So yeah, 2 for 2. Those are good numbies.
Last year he was 2 for 6, so he's 50% in his AHL career in the shootout. And last season, when Ottawa went 1-1-1 on the California trip, the shootout loss was in Anaheim. Ottawa tied it in the third period. Nick Cousins from Michael Amadio, and let me just wipe a tear away. Brady Tkachuk had the 2 other goals for the Ottawa Senators in that game, including a first period power play goal. But this is a new team, new opportunity. That was just a 3-game trip. Go to California, come back. This is dig your heels in and get some points. I know it's going to be tough, and Ottawa, I think, is looking at 500 would be success. What would you consider a successful road trip out of the 7 games?
Well, let's go through a game by game. The Ducks, I expect to at least get a point tonight, because you've had so many days off. It's a team coming second half of a back-to-back, playing their backup. So I think you should at least get a point there. They should be able to beat the Sharks. Hockey night in Canada, you got to find a way to win there. The Kings have their number, so I guess we'll call that an L. So 1-1-1 so far. Vegas, we're gonna say that's a tough matchup for the Sens. How about I put it that way instead of wording it a different way?
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, we'll take 1 in the second category of the numbers there. 1-2-1. Got to beat the Blues. Brady Tkachuk aiming to go back, return that night, and you heard it. He is so fired up to get back. If FanDuel has an opportunity to bet on hits, I'll be hammering that, because Brady said he wants to come out flying. So what are we at then? 3-2-1?
Yep. And with 2 games left, at Dallas on the 30th and then at Montreal on December 2nd.
So I'll say Dallas is a tough one too. So 3-3-1, and then Montreal, let's get the dub there. So 4-3-1 is my projected standings in this road trip. No, that's 8 games.
Well, yeah. Where'd you screw up that one?
That's a good.
Just take a loss off.
Yeah. 4-2-1. How about that? Smart.
4-2-1. That's perfect. And you're calling the losses back to back in LA and Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a bit confident based on how the Ottawa Senators have played out west over the last number of years. But again, those are years past. This is a great opportunity. If you can somehow get 5, 6. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Get 5 wins, and it is a slam dunk. Bring it home, and let's take it on to December. Especially, hopefully it's the last time we're saying it, but November has been a lot better. So let's just keep getting those points, maybe a couple more wins, just so that the old school guys don't say, yeah, well, you're NHL 500, but you're actually losing more than you're winning. So I'd like to see, and also you want to start a road trip on the right note, because the guys are together for 14 straight days. So you want to be able to have the mood, the environment around the team. Let's get these vibes cooking. And
I want to say, Ross, the reason why I've got more wins at the end of the road trip, you're going to get Brady Tkachuk back and probably Thomas Chabot back as well. So getting Brady, your captain, back is such a just moral boost, let alone a boost on the ice. And then getting Chabot back in the lineup too, I think will really be a boost there. I think having these guys on the road trip, getting better, being there for the vibes, and then being inserted in the back half of it, I think is going to be a major morale booster.
It's something that we say in back-to-back situations where it's like, why not use your extras and get little bit of fresh legs? Well, the freshest legs are guys that haven't been playing in a while, and especially for Brady with the thumb injury, he's been skating.
Upper body, Chabot's skating.
Yeah, so these guys should be able to hit the ground running. Neither will be in the lineup tonight, but we've got Senators and Ducks lineup notes, key players to watch, and we'll wrap up the show with some keys to victory, not only for tonight, but I got one for the entire road trip to make it a success. Those conversations are next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Rougiette. Let's be real, making excuses, that's not going to solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress, I'm just tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body needs just a little extra support. That's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to those moments that matter. So visit Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Farm to Fork. If you're looking for premium, high-quality meats with no antibiotics, no hormones, or GMOs, oh boy, do I have something for you. It's Farm to Fork. Farm to Fork makes it easy to get high-quality steaks, air-chilled chicken, and wild-caught seafood, everything flash frozen for your convenience and individual freshness. You just pull out what you need on any given day. Their meats are top notch. The ribeyes, I always make sure to have some in the freezer because you can just pull it out and boom, you've got an elite dinner waiting for you. Their chicken is air chilled, so it's fresher and more flavorful than what you'd get in the store. The wild caught seafood, game changer. A lot of the Sens boys are getting in on Farm to Fork. Why wouldn't you as well? They're delivering all across Ontario and Western Quebec. The best part, delivery is free. With a minimum order of $199, you don't even have to leave the house to get this quality. And we've got a special code just for you. It's LOCKEDON40 to get $40 off your first order at Farm to Fork. Derek, local Ottawa guy, knows you're going to love it. So visit farm2forkdelivery.ca, that's the number 2, to start stocking up on the best meats around. They also have a storefront. If you are in Ottawa, you can head over to Carling Avenue. The direct address is 1570 Carling Avenue, and go check out their store and say what up to Derek. It's great food, awesome quality, and you get $40 off your first order with Locked On 40. Farm to Fork, delicious locally farmed meats delivered straight to your door. All right, Pillsy, it's game day for the Ottawa Senators in Anaheim, taking on the Ducks. Before we get to Anaheim's information on tonight's game, we got to let you know it is a 10 o'clock start, and it's available on RDS and TSN 5. The postcast available right after the final horn. If you're not staying up too late tonight, don't worry. It'll be in your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube right for you in the morning when you get up. Pilsy, let's start with the Ottawa Senators. And we're going off of practice lines yesterday, so this is subject to change. The Senators, we're not sure if they're skating yet today. It's a little tougher to get the schedule when we're on the road. We are at the mercy of Mr. Jackson Starr, the team reporter. Tim Stützle centering David Perron and Drake Batherson. Dylan Cousins between Ridley Gregg and Fabian Zetterlund. Shane Pinto with Michael Amadio and Claude Giroux on his wings. And Stephen Halliday dishing it out on the fourth line between Nick Cousins and Hayden Hodgson. On the back end, Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub. Tyler Klevin with Jordan Spence. Nicholas Matinpalo with Nick Jensen. And we would expect Linus Ullmark to start in goal, right, Pills?
Yeah, I'd like Linus Ullmark to start in goal tonight. I think you don't want to give him too much time off in between games.
I think that Linus Ullmark is coming off 2 of his best performances of the season. I know he wasn't super busy against LA, but he made some big saves to keep that 1-0 throughout the game. 944 save percentage in there. He's got 3 straight games with an over 900 save percentage, which he had not done yet this season. Twice he had done it in back-to-back starts, but not in 3 in a row. So to me, I know he's played a lot. but this is an opportunity to have him continue to gain confidence, feel good about himself. And we should also note that Billsy, in his career against the Anaheim Ducks, very good. He's 4-2-2 with a 220 goals against average and a 930 save percentage. He was in goal for that matchup head-to-head last year in Anaheim.
Yep, that's good to see. So I want Linus Ullmark to keep things going here and start the road trip off with a nice start.
Who is your locked-on player for the Ottawa Senators tonight?
My locked-on player is going to be Ridley Gregg. In 19 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. And I know, Ross, you've been wanting to see more from Ridley Gregg, but in the last 5 games, he actually has 4 points. So he's been able to quietly put together some points here. So 4 of his 8 points have come in the last 5 games. And the reason I'm going to be locked on to Ridley Gregg and minorly locked on to David Perron, Brady Tkachuk watch is back on. Those 2 spots in the top 6 at left wing are not just there for those guys once Brady Tkachuk comes back. One of them is getting bumped out of there. Now, is it going to be David Perron, the vet, or is it going to be Ridley Gregg, a guy that hasn't really cemented himself here? But one thing's for sure, Travis Green will not be changing the Michael Amadio, Shane Pinto, Claude Giroux line. He just won't. There's no way anyone is bumping Amadio off that spot. So either you get to stay in the top 6, or you're probably finding yourself on the 4th line if you're Gregg or Perron once Brady Tkachuk comes back. So you got about 3-4 games left here to show Travis Green that, hey, I'm the guy you got to keep in the top 6. And Ridley Gregg has been decent lately. So I'm going to see if he's able to keep that up, because Ross, you had a stat about Amadio, Pinto, Giroux, how effective that line is.
Yeah, I do. And I also want to say my locked-on player is David Perron, because Brady Tkachuk's coming back. And, they only have so much more opportunity. I'm just kidding. But that is
that would not surprise me, Ross, for you to go at the exact same point right after I just finished.
And I just wanted to get a laugh out of you for that one, because you leaded me perfect into my locked-on player. It's the guy photoed. If you're watching on YouTube, it's Michael Amadio. It took a team shutout to end his point streak.
Yeah.
But he's still playing such good hockey. Like in the last 11 games, where, by the way, Ottawa's got 1 regulation loss in the last 12 games now. So we've been talking a lot about 3-1-3 in November, but you can rewind the clock there to the middle of October, and it's been really, really good, basically since the Islanders lost in the last minute, which they probably should have gotten a point in as well. But Michael Amadio's got 6 goals and 9 points in his last 11 games, and that line with Shane Pinto and Claude Giroux among lines that have played at least 100 minutes together. So I don't feel like I'm taking away that much. That's a pretty reasonable amount of time. I know some people will say, hey, you guys, you mess with the numbers. 1, I'm not smart enough to do that. And 2, with 100 minutes played, the line of Giroux, Pinto, and Amadio has the highest expected goals percentage in the National Hockey League. The line right behind them is Barrett Hayton with Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller. Then you've got a line, actually shockingly, from the Nashville Predators, O'Reilly, Forsberg, and Evangelista. And then number 4 is Hertl, Dorofiev, and Marner from Vegas. And then Strome, Beauvillier, and Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals. So you're up against some real good lines in the National Hockey League, and they've been fantastic together. I'm excited to see what they're going to do to change the let's say matchups in this game, because Ottawa's not going to have last change. They're coming off a 4-game homestand. I'm curious, and we know that teams have so much video, so much information. The Ducks know that stat that I just said, but I'm curious if there's going to be a time on this road trip where the matchup that the opposition thinks they want to get against that line bites them in the ass. So I'm excited to see that tonight. Ottawa would love to see Pinto go head-to-head against Leo Carlsson tonight, who is an absolute star in this league at just 21 years old. But if you can get him up against a Ryan Strome line, for example, tonight, and they think that they've got you beat, or McTavish's line, I love the third. And we almost should change that to second line. I mean, they're so talented on both sides of the puck. And we also have to give some stick taps to Claude Giroux tonight, who will be making $250,000 for playing in tonight's game. It's his 20th game of the season. Giroux also has performance bonuses of $250,000 when he reaches 30 games and 60 games. The rest are all playoff laden bonuses. But $250,000 for Claude Giroux tonight. G Money. putting it into.
He's got to be buying dinner tonight, right?
I mean, kind of have to, or at least some money on the board, right?
Yeah.
That's a nice little payday. I'm also going to be curious to see if McDermott gets into the lineup, because the Anaheim Ducks, who we'll talk about more in just a minute, they've got a mutant on their fourth line. Ross, great name. Johnston is one of those pugilists in the league, but maybe Ottawa's going to go.
Pugilists.
Yeah, word of the day.
Can we get a word of the day on that one? I've never heard that before.
Pugilist. A boxer, especially a professional one.
There we go. I like it. Nice word of the day, Ross.
What douche.
Pugilist.
Douche. But they've also got Hayden Hodgson up, and that could be a more practical player, because Hodgson brings an element of speed that they're not going to get with McDermott. And Halliday, we talked about, maybe not the fastest guy. That's the one weakness in his game. You might want to get a solid F1 on that line, because Hodgson is going to be the F1 every forecheck.
Yeah. I think you let McDermott sit this one out. I think you stick with Cousins, Halliday, Hodgson.
All right, the extras then: McDermott and Lassie Thompson. Still injured, Brady Tkachuk and Thomas Chabot, plus Lars Eller, the reason why Halliday will likely get his first National Hockey League game. Big road trip as well for Tyler Clevin, especially until Thomas Chabot comes back. He scored a beauty in San Jose last year. Was that his first NHL goal? That bomb from the point? I think it was.
It might have been. Yep.
I think it was. So he's got good memories from last year's California trip. Pillsy, the Anaheim Ducks are a very fun team to watch. We'll preview what the other side is coming to tonight's game with, and some keys to victory next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score to next fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. How about when you're brewing that 9:30 p.m. coffee? While that coffee's brewing, go check out FanDuel and see what the odds are for the Ottawa Senators up against the Anaheim Ducks. Right now, your Ottawa Senators are favorites, -134, and the over-under set at 6.5. So if you want to get some action in on tonight's game to stay up, do it with FanDuel. And if you're a new customer, FanDuel will give you $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right, Pillsy, game day for the Ottawa Senators. Get your coffee on at about 4 or 5 o'clock. If not, try to get a nap in before the game. What's your routine before a 10 p.m. start?
Coffee that early? Is that going to keep you going for, if you do it at 4 o'clock, you got to have, another 9 hours out of that one?
I think it's just the midday lull that I need to get over. I'm not afraid to stay up a little late, so that's not a problem for me. It's just getting through that middle section of the day, getting enough done where I'll feel good about settling in for a 10 o'clock start. And obviously the postcast, the energy and the vibe that the citizens give us just gets me so fired up. That's not a problem. But yeah, 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll get the coffee in. I'll have probably a bit of a late dinner.
Yep.
Read some books to the baby before bed.
Love it.
And then away we go.
Yeah, I need a later coffee to keep me going. So
you're a Red Bull IV guy.
No, I'm off the energy drinks. Big
time.
Lifestyle. One of my big lifestyle changes this year, trying to be a little more healthy, a little more active. I've cut out energy drinks. Massive move for me. I used to be a huge energy drink guy multiple times a week. Those things, newsflash, not good, not great for you. So I'm trying to stick to more coffee, but I do
drip drop.
Yeah, of course, drip drop to stay hydrated. But I do like a new thing I've been doing, and this is maybe just as crazy as an energy drink, though. Coke Zero with a shot of espresso in it, and then a splash of milk. It makes like a creamy Coke coffee type thing. I
Okay.
might go with that right after dinner, maybe around 8 o'clock, something like that. But that'll get you going.
Yeah, fired up for it. So we'll see you in the postcast after the game. But let's talk about the Anaheim Ducks, who are a high-flying bunch, second in the league behind Colorado in goals for per game, 3.65 goals per game. They're 13-6-1 on the season. They are very impressive, and they're being led by a youth movement that surrounds what at the time people thought was a surprising pick at second overall behind Connor Bedard. Everyone thought it was going to be Adam Fantilli.
Oh, you're going a different way. They had another surprising pick.
Yes, and he's already in the lineup at 19 years old. So we'll get to that in a moment. But this Leo Carlsson is like a superstar in the league. He's already got 27 points in 20 games. I'm already ready to crown him the number one center for Team Sweden at the Olympics. Like, he is an incredible...
Who would bump him?
Well, I mean, historically, you got Mika Zibanejad there.
Yeah, that's not happening this year.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. They got a lot more wings than centermen in there. Oh, Elias Pettersson would be the other one.
Yeah, I don't think he's bumping him either. And Ross, huge. This is Leo Carlsson's contract season. But
has he not signed? They've been so weird with their contracts. I mean, they ended up getting it done with Mason McTavish, but Pat Verbeek is very, very frisky in contract negotiations, right? It didn't go well for Drysdale. Boom, he's on the next flight out of town.
Yeah, well, and then they hand Jackson Lacombe that mammoth deal, and Cutter Gauthier also contract year for him. So those guys are going to be looking at the deals that got signed recently by McTavish, but more importantly, Lacombe that's more of a new age deal, and they're going to be looking for that type of money. You better believe it.
Oh, and he's deserving.
Carlsson is certainly worth it. Gauthier, maybe that's a little too soon. He is. It's a little too soon to see if he's worth locking up like that, but Carlsson is incredible.
Stud. So be aware when he's on the ice. I'm not even going to waste a lookout player on him because we're talking about him now. He's 20 until Boxing Day.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
Just an incredible. He just had his 100 and 101st NHL point both in the last 5 games, played 151 games. So this is a kid that is going to be a superstar for years to come. He's also got 2 shorthanded goals this season, so you got to be aware of him when you're on the penalty kill. 6'3", 210, big body, and plays the game hard in all 3 zones. Let's take a look at how the Anaheim Ducks line up in tonight's game. It's going to be a very, very challenging opponent for Ottawa. You've got Leo Carlsson on the top line with a rejuvenated Chris Kreider and longtime Anaheim Duck Troy Terry. The second line is Cart Boy, Mason McTavish with Cutter Gauthier and Beckett Seneca. Then you've got Ryan Strome with Frank Vetrano and Alex Killorn. Jansen Harkins is centering the fourth line with Ross Johnston and Nikita Nesterenko. The back end is Jackson Lacombe with Drew Hellison, Olin Zellweger with Jacob Trouba, also rejuvenated. Spot the parallels of those 2 guys. And then you've got, is it Lucas Moore or Ian Moore? I think it's Ian Moore. On the third pair with their captain, Radko Gudas. In goal, Peter Mrazek. And Peter Mrazek is having a hilarious season. He's 3-1, but his best game was the loss. It's also the most recent time that he's been in goal. He only allowed, I think it was 1, if not 2, in the game against the Minnesota Wild that Jesper Wallstedt got the shutout. It was just 1 goal. Empty netter was the other one. And he's gotten better as the season went on. He got 2 hilarious wins, 7-6 in overtime and 7-5, both on the road. But then in his last 2, I mean, he beat Vegas in overtime and then a 2-0 loss where he only let in 1 on 29. So even though it is a backup game, Peter Mrazek's been playing good hockey of late. So they're going to have to get to him early. Very athletic goalie. He's the type of guy where you're looking for those second and third chances where he's got himself out of position, but you got to attack and get a ton of shots on him. That's one key to victory. But who's your lookout player tonight for the Anaheim Ducks?
My lookout player is going to be number 65, Jacob Trouba. You talk about rejuvenation, Ross. This guy got rejuvenated. The captain of the New York Rangers, and only 6 points in 24 games. Then he gets traded to Anaheim, and he only gets 8 points in 53 games finishing up the season with the Ducks. So he only finishes with 14 points, math guy, last season total In 20 games, he's already up to 12, and he leads the Ducks at a plus 14. He's second on the team in hits. He leads the Ducks in blocks. Like, this guy has figured out his game coming to California and getting out of New York. So it's been really good for him to have a new opportunity, probably a lot less pressure. Being the captain of the New York Rangers in that city, and especially when it's not going good, is probably a tough thing to deal with in your personal life. So he gets a little bit more of a chill, less focused role here, and he's doing a good job. And to be beside Zellweger, that's a great spot to be if you're Trouba. So I'm going to be looking out for him, because you look at that right side, Ross, with Trouba and Gudas. That is some big boys that aren't afraid to dish out some physical play, and you got to be aware of that if you're the Sens.
Trouba, Kreider, Vetrano, and Strome, all former New York Rangers that are on this Anaheim Ducks team. And for Chris Kreider, it's also been a rejuvenation. He's got 10 goals in 16 games so far. He has slowed down of late. He started out red hot, but that's pretty incredible that he's third on the team in goals. My lookout player is going to be the guy who's number one in goals on the team, Cutter Gauthier, with 12 and 23 points. He's a plus 10. He's a part of one of the best lines in hockey in terms of real goals. So maybe you could say I was looking like a Sabres fan there talking about expected goals. When you change it to real goals, there's only one line better than McTavish, Gauthier, and Seneca in terms of 5-on-5 scoring, and that's the top line in Colorado, where McKinnon, Nachas, and Arturi Lehkonen are just dominating. But the line of Gauthier, McTavish, and Seneca are doing a lot of the same. Let's rewind the clock here a little bit. That's a 22-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 20-year-old on a top six line in the National Hockey League. Cutter Gauthier is among the NHL's leaders in shots on goal this season as well. Pilsy, he's got 89 shots on goal. That's actually number one now in the league. 2 more than Jason Robertson and 4 more than Nathan McKinnon. Incredible shot volume, so keep that guy to the outside at all costs.
To put that into perspective, Tim Stützle leads the Senators with 51 shots.
What? He's got 38 more shots than Tim Stützle?
Yeah.
Wow. So look out for Cutter Gauthier when he's on the ice.
Absolutely. All right, can I dive into my keys to victory tease here?
Yes, sir.
Ross, if you had to guess where I'm going with this, I'm going to try to lead you into this so it proves my point even more. Coming from me, what would you say is the key to a good power play or the key to a good penalty kill?
Movement.
That is key, but I'm leaning into face-offs here,
Yes.
Ross. And you talk about the face-offs on the power play. Your Ottawa Senators lead the league in power play face-off percentage with 69.7. Now I'm going to lead you into this even more. Who do you think is dead last in the league in short-handed face-off percentage?
The Anaheim Ducks.
The Anaheim Ducks sit at 31.5% in the face-off dot when they're shorthanded. Oh my God. The Ottawa Senators approximately win 2 out of 3 draws on the power play, and the Ducks only approximately win 1 out of 3 draws when they're shorthanded. I think those stats are going to work nicely together. They pretty much check out. So if you get the Ottawa Senators winning those faceoffs on the power play, and then, Ross, that's where I'll go to my number 2, movement. Then you get some good movement in the O zone. Try to wear out those penalty killers that are on a second half of a back-to-back. And if you can execute like we've seen the Ottawa Senators do, who was it, Timmy, that finished off that power play goal? Or was it Batherson?
Can't recall. It's been so long since the Senators.
I know.
Scored.
What was that play where they had that amazing quick bang, bang? I think it was against the Bruins.
Yeah, it was. That was their last power play.
Giroux finished it off.
Correct, yes. On a sick seam pass from Tim.
And how did that start? A face-off win to Sandy, I believe. Clean to him. So if you can do that, that's going to set you up for success here. The Boston Bruins went 2 for 2 last night up against the Anaheim Ducks on their power play. So I think that's going to be a massive key for this team being able to be effective. We haven't seen a game in a while where the Sens have won leaning fully on their power play. Now I'm not saying that should be what you rely on, but I wouldn't mind seeing a couple days rest, a team that sucks shorthanded, winning faceoffs in the Anaheim Ducks. Take advantage of that and absolutely dominate the dot with the man advantage.
And shots on net, please. Like, I don't get this perfect passing. Like, it's nice when it works. That's Giroux.
Yeah, when it works, it's pretty sick, Ross.
Yeah, it is. But like, how often are we waiting for the first shot on a power play? Like, at least when that first unit's out there, the first 30 seconds should absolutely be a shooting gallery. Just everything at the net, and just go for rebounds and try to get puck retrievals, because that's another key part of power plays is how are you going to get those second and third looks? But Ottawa at times just seems so intent on moving around the perimeter, and they're not getting to those dirty areas. And yeah, you get the asterisks that Brady's their number one guy and arguably one of the best guys in the league at being a net front power play guy. But Ottawa's got too many good shooters. For a while, there weren't enough shooters for Ottawa. Sanderson's been shooting the puck a ton. I want to see him hitting the net, because that miss with 14 seconds left in the game against LA has been ringing through my head the last little while. High and wide, no. On the ice, low, get that tip even if you miss wide. But that said, these guys, Cousins, shooter, Pinto, shooter, these guys have the opportunity to get pucks. Timmy, shooter.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, get Timmy in that mix too, Ross.
These guys need to shoot the puck on the power play. And my key to the road trip, Billsy, I got two of them. The first one, the power play early, because this stretch it's ugly. And they're still 11th in the league. That's how high they were especially those two games where they go back-to-back, 3 goals in the power play, then 4. That's going to help the season average, of course. But the stretch they're on right now, where it just hasn't been even looking good. There's times where a power play just doesn't produce, and that's one thing. But when it's just not even like looking the part, that's where I've got a big issue. So they have to generate momentum on their power plays, especially in these first 2-3 games. Otherwise, you're going to even get further along, like when they're in quick succession. I feel like this is a good reset for that. But when you're going every other night, and if the power play continues to struggle, they're going to see on the ticker when they turn on their app that, oh man, we're still not producing on the man advantage. And I think it could weigh on them throughout the trip, and they're going to need their power play in the later portion of this road trip. Like, they've only scored 1 power play goal in their last 23 opportunities. The Senators have as many shorthanded goals as they do power play goals in their last 9 games. Not going to cut it. Key to victory. The other one is use your extras. And this might sound wild based on the fact that tonight the extras are McDermott and Lassie Thompson, but you cannot expect the top guys to be able to play all of these 7 games and be at their best. I want to see Travis Green have a strategic coaching strategy where he's able to get guys in and out of the lineup. It'll be easier later on if and when Thomas Chabot comes back and when Brady Tkachuk comes back. But even before that, like, I wouldn't mind seeing Lassie in San Jose just to get a bit of a different look. We'll see, obviously, it depends on performance. If Matt and Paolo has a good night here, away you go. It's all good. But don't be shy to use all the bodies you brought.
On that note, do you think we could see Dennis Gilbert, once he's cleared, join them on this road trip?
I don't know what his status is, right? He didn't play yesterday for Belleville, so clearly he's not game ready. Belleville's got 2 big games this weekend against Laval, so we'll keep an eye out. Maybe you fly him out. Like, Belleville's flying to Winnipeg, so at least it's easier to go from Winnipeg. There's daily flight to LA from the Peg, so maybe they get him out after the game Tuesday. They play a 10:30 a.m. game in Winnipeg. Maybe they say, hop on a flight, come join us in LA. We'll meet you back there after we're back from San Jose. And then he gets on the flight. But I think we're more likely to see Lassie Thompson than we are Dennis Gilbert on this trip. But any final thoughts on today's show, Pilsy? I'm excited for this game, man. Like I said off the top of the show, like, this will be a good opportunity for the Sens to, one, use their strength, which is defending and keeping shots suppressed with a good offensive team you're going up against. But I think Ottawa will have their opportunities tonight to put a few on the board.
Yeah, and just before my final thought, Ross, I want to dig even deeper onto the face-off percentages on the power play. Listen to this. Shane Pinto,
back, buddy.
This is all power play face-off win percentage. Pinto, 85.7. Drew, 75. Eller, 75. Ridley Gregg, 69.2. Brady Tkachuk, small sample size, but 66.7. Cousins, 66.7. Or no, that was Timmy, 66.7. And Cousins, 61.5. So the lowest power play percentage of faceoffs is Cousins at 61.5. So there's no excuse for this team not to be converting on power plays when you're starting off with possession and you're able to get the cycle and the play set up. So I love seeing that from the Sens. Let's keep it going here. Final thought for me. The Guelph Storm will be hosting the Mem Cup in 2027. You guys know I'm a Guelph Storm guy. That's where my OHL allegiance lies. That's where I started my broadcasting career, volunteering for Rogers TV, cameraman, replay, things like that. So I got a soft spot for the Guelph Storm. So they're going to be hosting in 2027. I always like seeing these announcements, Ross, because how long is it going to take for us to see the Guelph Storm have traded 13 draft picks for this top prospect? Like, you load up for when your team is hosting the Mem Cup. So I'm excited because this Guelph team has not been very good for quite a long time. So it's going to be nice to see them get a boost here and have a reason to load up.
All right. The Memorial Cup this year is in Kelowna. So stay tuned for
two
that.
Of my favorite spots. Let's go.
A little bit later on in the season. Yeah, it's going to be a good game tonight, and I'm excited to follow along here. Maybe the Sens will have some players in that Memorial Cup. But fired up for you. You'll get some scouting reports for us in the 2027 Memorial Cup. Yeah. Well, we're about 9 hours away from puck draw. Fired up for this one tonight. I'm going to keep saying it until it doesn't start well.
Hey.
So you know what?
The Sens have been starting well lately, dude. We can't even put that narrative out there.
No, I don't want that narrative out there. I'm just trying to temper my expectations because I'm getting a little hot and bothered thinking about a couple power play goals. I got flashbacks. Forget the game in Anaheim last year where the Ducks got a shootout win. How about the game in Ottawa where it was a complete beatdown of the Ducks? Drake Batherson had a hat trick in that game.
That was one of the worst games of the year. I remember we talked to the first Anaheim game. Sorry. I remember talking to Sens fans being like, what are some of the worst games of the year? And that first Anaheim game, or I forget the order of it, but I remember the one Anaheim game was just terrible.
Well, this one was fantastic. 5-1 in Ottawa. It was the night they put Wade Redden into the Ring of Honor, and they won 5-1. They had 3 power play goals. Man, what's Brady? Every time I look up a game against the Ducks, Brady Tkachuk is scoring. What's his career numbers against the Ducks? He's got 6 goals, 8 points in 12 games against Anaheim, but we won't get to see Brady tonight. Hopefully, very soon. You'll get to see us very soon tonight in the postcast. We'll see you after the game. Again, if you miss it, no worries. It'll be available for you everywhere you get podcasts right after we finish our live on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and everywhere you get your podcast. Really helps the show grow. We're part of Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. Thank you so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.